You know, one of the many, many spiritual principles that runs through 12-step programs is that people come together to support each other in moving through their process of healing from addictions, and that people get sponsors. You know, when you're not able to see the truth for yourself, you have someone to reach out to know the truth with you. And I think that's really important for us to be open to that, open to receiving, just as we are there to support ourselves. And the last part of this story that I think is important to look at is that last part where Noah sends out the raven and the dove. Before we step back into those life patterns that maybe we've stepped out of for a while, I think we need to sort of test the waters to see, am I really strong enough in consciousness, and to be honest about it, and see how we're doing if we've embodied the new consciousness in a way that we can move back into some of those patterns that were familiar in the past and be with those people. And you know, when we really know we're there, then we can just move back in. Those patterns no longer have a hold on us. They no longer pull us like they did in the past, because they really have dissolved. I was reading a story recently about a woman who was talking about relationships, and this whole idea of so often we get into relationships with the idea of, oh, when I have that person in my life, they will make me feel complete. So now we've put it on our partner to make us feel good about ourselves. You know, and she had gone from relationship to relationship, and she said in her therapy work, doing her own inner work, she'd realized this tendency in her to be dependent on a relationship to feel good about herself. And she went through a really, really difficult breakup, very hurtful. And after that, she realized that most of her friends were in relationships, also thought, you know, that that was the way to be, and they kept trying to set her up on dates. And she had been doing her work to realize, I think I need to work on myself before I just get back into this dating game and connecting with someone. I want to get to know myself better. And she said that some of her friends were really very pushy about it, and she had to make it very clear. She understood that they were coming from love, but she had to make it clear that she was absolutely not ready for that. And in one case, it actually ruined a friendship, because she had a friend that just didn't understand why she didn't want to go out with this wonderful person. This person knew what was right for her, and when she got rejected with that, it hurt the friendship. But during this time, she also talked about how prior to this situation, she had just dabbled in Buddhism a little, and she found the practices of Buddhism that really supported her in just coming to be aware of her inner world, herself. She would go on Buddhist retreats. A therapist turned her on to some support groups, some single support groups that weren't about meeting people to connect, but more about getting together and feeling good just being single and going out and doing fun things to discover things that they love to do and get to know themselves better. And she said it was about a year before she felt comfortable getting back into the dating game. And when she did, she started with that rule that we often hear about for the first time, just meet for coffee. So, you know, if the person you're with is not who you want to be with, you're not stuck for 3 hours, dinner and whatever else. You know, but she said it was also very helpful because it put less pressure, and she could test when she was there to see, how desperate am I feeling here? Am I feeling like I really need this to work out? Am I going back to that old pattern? And as she started realizing, no, she was just enjoying getting to meet people and didn't feel this desperate need to be in relationship. Her final comment was, because she's still dating, at least at the time the article was written, is, I like the person who's going out on these dates with these guys a lot more than the one they would have met a year ago. Isn't that wonderful? And it's all that same process, you know, of supporting herself with her own consciousness, but also withdrawing from the things that didn't support her, supporting herself with the kind of support she needed to get through this period, to then step into this new reality.